What is up and good morning everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Marvel Rivals. Today we are going to be doing yet another spectating video, keeping up with that trend, and we are going to be looking at SparkR today. This guy is probably one of the best hit scan players ever to play games like this. So we're going to watch him play Hela. It's going to go a little bit crazy. I will, of course, include the replay ID if you want to watch this game for yourself, see what's going on. But let's get right into it. And I think, for the most part, this is going to be focused on positioning, just because there's not going to be a whole lot to say about, just maybe holding down left click or something like that. That's what I found a little bit more difficult on spectating DPS videos, that sort of thing, unless they're playing like an assassin where the positioning is a little bit more important. So I was also going to see if I can do a two-part series coming up. So we're going to do like a win and a loss to see if there's a big positioning diff, if it really was a team diff, that sort of thing. So we'll see when that comes out. But choosing to play over on the left-hand side here, not playing behind the tank, kind of an interesting choice, I think. I don't know. I feel really unsafe when I go off on the side over there, but you might be able to get a good angle. His magic is absolutely popping off though, taking out the backliners, and he's just focusing a lot of his attention on these tanks because he can't really reach the cloak and dagger until she steps up. Gets a nice headshot to finish off the Strange. They take out the mag, and pretty much all he did was just hold left click there, so that was pretty good. His magic absolutely carries that first point, so they're just going to take this, get the score to 1-0. I should have over 4 minutes on the clock, over 5 minutes on the clock going into this next point, and once again getting up to high ground. Getting a couple shots on the enemy, getting a little bit closer to that Hela ult. Making a little bit of space here. He is actually playing with Doge Biceps, who is a very good player as well. He's pretty much top 25 all the time. Goes up to high ground, kind of ego chows the storm a little bit, gets punished for it. I think that was still a little bit of an aggressive space take as well. I think people get a little bit cocky when they're getting that momentum. But it's going to be a short run back, so it's not too big of a deal. Staying off the beaten path still a little bit, not just standing behind tanks. I do see a lot of DPS that just stand behind their tanks and try and do something like that. Pops his ult so as to kind of defensively a little bit, so as not to die to the Magneto ult. Starts whipping things right over the Doctor Strange shield. He sees him put that up. We get Luna ult and Namor ult come out from his team as well, so his team is going to be able to stay pretty safe. Mantis from the other team does counter as well, so they might not be able to get a whole lot of kills back, but they've already gotten their momentum a little bit. Taking Doctor Strange low, and this time I'm not sure I super like this positioning, getting right in there, but able to dodge the Eye of Agamotto with his little bird form. And his Magneto ults to create a little bit of space, ends up getting the one shot on the Mantis, and he steps up a little bit more confidently here, knowing the enemy team is down 2. Seems to be focusing tanks a little bit more. I feel like he's got some shots on the back line that he could be taking, but putting a good amount of pressure on them, especially when he's hitting any headshots. His magic does go down here, but they're able to round this corner, and they still have 3 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock, so gets a nice 3-tap on that Storm there. As soon as she steps up, she's getting punished for it, which is definitely some good target selection on his part. Putting pressure on these tanks. As soon as the Cloak and Dagger steps up just a little bit too far, that's when he starts hitting her. Using his shift to get out of that. His Luna ults, his the Cloak and Dagger ults, so both support ults burned from each team. 2 support ults, I should say. Sees the Cloak a little bit out of position, ends up getting the KO on her. And using his ult to make sure that she stays safe from Storm ult, since they don't have access to Luna ult or Cloak ult, anything like that. Still stuck up in the sky here, doesn't get a whole lot of value out of his ult, but survives, is able to take one of them out, stagger them a little bit, and then join the rest of his team as they take out the Doctor Strange. Gets a nice 2-tap on the Mantis there as well. Going to be able to take this second point relatively easily. And this guy has not missed a whole lot of shots. What accuracy are we looking at right now? I can't even see him on this. We're looking at 58% accuracy, which is a little bit crazy, especially on a hit scan character. But They are creating a ton of space here. I think we're maybe a little bit too far up. I don't know. I don't play DPS a whole lot. I'm usually getting autofilled to healer, or I tank on mag or something like that. But I do think a lot of DPS, the reason I wanted to do this was because a lot of DPS, when we're pushing up, making space like this, he's been kind of stuck in this situation, and his healers are able to keep him alive pretty well here, but he's basically on even ground with the tank, and whether that be a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. But when you push up, make space, I've noticed a lot of my DPS end up running past me as a tank as soon as I stop. So I think it's interesting that he kind of stops right next to him. He doesn't go further, but I think if it were me, I would stay a little bit further back. Getting the ult popped here. Luna pops to keep his team safe. Goes for the person that is just out of range of the Luna ult. Not able to take out the Mantis there. And with the help of Storm ult, Magneto ult, Luna ult, Cloak ult, and Mantis ult, his team is taken out. They also blow Doctor Strange ult. So that is all 6 ults from the enemy team. And they still have Spider-Man ult and Alma, and they're getting kind of close to Cloak and Dagger ult. So big ult trade fight, but they should have the advantage going to this next one, especially if Spider-Man gets a nice ult. Once again, so still putting pressure on these tanks. Getting a little bit to the side, but not any crazy angles being played or anything like that. He's just hitting shots. Storm steps up, immediately gets on her. Unfortunately has to reload, but still taking her out in the end. Gets put in a little bit of a precarious situation here. I'm not sure why we're not using our left shift there, but I think he probably just thought his whole team was dead, so might as well just reset and die with them. I've definitely seen Hela played a little bit less recently. I think people think that she's just bad after the nerfs, but I don't think she's bad by any means. So if you're a Hela player that has stopped playing Hela, why have you stopped playing Hela? I'm not mad at it. I don't like playing against Helas, but still getting some pressure on these tanks. I like this angle a little bit better. He's got a little bit of cover in front of him. He's able to kind of maybe even get around some of these shields if they end up looking the wrong direction. His Luna, it's a nice 2-piece. His Spider-Man takes 2 people low in the back line, forces the Mantis ult to keep them healthy. And we're just going to sit here, left shift back to our team. Gets taken very low here. His Luna ult is forced. Make sure they stay alive. Enemy Luna ults to counter. Not able to get anything with the Namor ult. And goes for this right-hand flank, knowing he has ult. Trying to get a little bit of a detention, or not attention, what do you want to call it, from the other team. His Cloak and Dagger ults, almost gets taken out there, but gets his ult off. Knows they don't have any support ults, so he's able to clean up big time here. Takes out the Doctor Strange, takes out the 2 in the back line. And they're going to round this corner, take out the Luna. And just under 20 seconds left on the clock. The enemy team will still be down 1 person for a few more seconds, keeping a couple of them still in spawn. They only have access to Storm ult, and it is popped there. Using his left shift to get away from point, because that is going to be on point. His mag gets a nice kill on somebody, didn't even see. But his Spider-Man gets a 2-piece. They're able to take out Doctor Strange and get the 3-0 victory in the first round. So nothing too crazy, I feel like. It was just kind of good positioning. Usually stayed behind his tank. Just consistent shots being hit there. Usually I think maybe people think that they need to hit those consistent shots on Hela on squishy targets, which is obviously great. But this guy kind of focuses the tanks, make sure he keeps the pressure on them. And then as soon as a squishy target steps up, that's when he starts looking for those 2 taps, those 3 taps. She does attack pretty quickly. And let me know if you guys have someone specific you want me to spectate, have any characters you specifically want me to do a video for. I always do appreciate your guys' feedback, and you guys have been going crazy in the comments, so thank you so much for that. See, I like this angle way better, where we're standing on high ground, we're way behind our tanks. But unfortunately, we are not in line of sight of healers, so just dropping down to this health pack. I like kind of this low ground area, maybe a little bit better, actually. The enemy Cloak has already farmed ult, so They're going to get pressured a little bit in this back line here, taking her very, very low a couple of times, using the fade to get away from her, choosing to just play a completely different angle, move over to this right-hand side, get some cheeky hits on her as she tries to back up, ends up taking out the Magneto. The Cloak and Dagger falls as well. And they're able to chase down the Squirrel Girl, get this Namor in this corner over here with the help of magic, and reset the enemy team completely. Just about 2.5 minutes on the clock. They are looking at 3 ults as well. Luna ult is available from the enemy team, so is Storm ult, but we should be looking to get a Luna ult to counter that for sure. Still playing behind tanks. He is definitely still playing more of the main drag sort of position. I thought he'd be playing a little bit more on the flanks, but maybe that's just the map. Maybe that's just the nature of Convoy. His Cloak and Dagger ults to counter the Storm ult. His magic gets a nice 2-piece on the Cloak and the Squirrel Girl there. And just throwing damage into the other team. He doesn't really have a reason to be doing damage necessarily, but they force the Luna ult. He's not going to be able to do a whole lot with his ult, but Luna ult fades, ends up getting the 2-tap on her. That felt like that Luna ult was not... It did not last a whole lot of time. I guess she has already popped ult here, so she's been ulting for a few seconds here, which is why when the enemy team pushes up, he knows that ult is going to fade soon, gets a little bit of pressure on Luna, sees the ult fade, and finishes her off. Good awareness, honestly, just to know that that's going to fade and that he can still get those shots. Playing a nice main angle, so even if they run further down this hallway, he's able to still get shots in on them. And they do wipe the enemy team, get a nice stagger on the Squirrel Girl and the Namor, 6 seconds on the Namor, and another 7 or so on the Squirrel Girl in that situation. Resetting them completely, keeping them a little bit further back, stepping up in front of his tank, a little bit spooky there, but they don't have anyone that can 2-tap him, so it's a little bit of an easier challenge there. If they had a Hawkeye, you're definitely not that far up. No shot. The enemy Cloak and Dagger comes in and ults, goes back to his healers to make sure that he can still do damage while being healed. Squirrel Stampede comes out. He gets absolutely worked by this mag. Cloak is able to get one. Mag not getting the one shot on his Luna. Darkchild is popped, and so is Luna ult. Still only getting one with Darkchild. Storm ult finishes off 2. And they are probably not going to be able to contest this as they lose their magic, and the enemy just caps that. So, still 3 minutes on the clock, still anyone's game. Getting a couple cheeky hits as he backs up. Knows he's a little bit too far up here, has a good awareness about where his team is. Looks like his whole team kind of switched spawns and opted to spawn at the further one back. Takes Magneto very, very low there. What is his accuracy now? This guy feels like he's hitting every shot. Still 58%, and he's absolutely blasting. Gets a little bit too far up there, especially because his Magneto goes to high ground. That was kind of interesting too. He's playing this main hallway, and his Magneto's on high ground. He kind of floats back over here, has no one in front of him, and is quickly just run down as Magneto's not in front of him. So I guess that is what can happen if you're not paying attention to where your tank is, or you're playing a little bit of a different angle. They might just turn on you and take you out there. So I think he should have either maybe gone to the high ground and played with the Magneto, or just stayed further back knowing that he's not there to get that pressure. Let me know if you agree in the comments. Getting right back into it here. They still have access to Cloak and Dagger ult. Gets rooted. That's a little bit terrifying. But his Cloak and Dagger ults to try and get the enemy off the point here. Make sure they can get a little bit more momentum. Sees Squirrel Girl about half HP on high ground. Unfortunately, she jumps to safety in the Luna ult. The Squirrel Girl ult is popped. That ult feels so strong right now. Let me know if you guys have also been struggling against Squirrel Girl ult, because that ult is just absolutely pumping right now. Uses his left shift in a very good way to get back to his Storm. Unfortunately, it fades, and the enemy Storm is going to take them out. And the other team should be able to get this point just because they get a pretty clean wipe there. And now we're getting a little bit worried. They have a minute and a half on the clock, about to get another refresh on the point. Choosing to stay completely far back here, especially because Magneto was staggered. Oh boy. And I will hopefully link this guy's Twitch and YouTube if he's got them. I haven't actually looked yet, but I'd imagine he does have a Twitch. This guy's a very, very good player. So if you want to see any of this live, you can always go check that out there. And again, I will put the replay ID in the comments too. So if you want to watch this replay for yourself, let me know if you notice anything different. They do get a nice two-piece on the Storm with the Storm and the Luna, I believe. With the Magic here. Magic is just going absolutely ape in the back line. And they kind of just cleaned the enemy team up there. I'm not really sure. They didn't really use anything. They just kind of did it. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Let's just watch that again. I don't know. Maybe we'll watch this from Magic's perspective, actually. Because I feel like she just goes kind of crazy here. Goes in, absolutely dumpsters the Luna. Takes the Storm low. Storm gets finished off. Gets right back on the Cloak. Doesn't have any support from her other healers. Gets a nice combo on the Squirrel Girl. Takes her low. Wow. Just a clean fight all around. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. Super clean fight. They don't have to use any ults there. Especially because they don't have any... not a whole lot of ults to use at this point. Just one available for red team with 3 coming up for the blue team. Needs to back up with haste as the Cloak and Dagger comes in and ults. Uses his left shift to make sure that he can safely back up instead of getting caught in the crossfire. Not CCable in that form as well. They do lose their Luna and their Cloak and Dagger, so they are going to be down a healer. They return a couple kills on the Namor and the Storm, but it is just going to be him and Luna respawning here in a second. This guy is an incredible player, by the way. So if you're interested in playing like Star-Lord, or I think he plays some Bucky, some Hela, this guy is definitely who you want to be watching if you're playing any sort of hit scan character or just some good DPS characters. He's usually on the one above all leaderboard, just absolutely cranking. So his mag gets a nice 2-piece there. Luna ult is popped for the enemy team, and they're just going to hold their ults. Not using anything for this. They've gotten 2 picks already, so they don't really need to blow any ults to do anything more. Gets a nice 3-tap on the Luna there. Going to stagger them a little bit. Gets the Namor low. Unfortunately, not able to take him out. But his Namor is able to take out the enemy Magneto. And they're going to push the enemy back with just about 30 seconds left on the clock. And they should just be content just sitting up in front here. They do have access to 4 different ults, saving all of their ults for overtime to make sure they have plenty of damage and survivability for that. Cloak and Dagger is also getting close to her ult. They pop Darkchild and Hela ult, trying to keep the enemy back a little bit. Magic gets 1, he gets 1, Magneto gets 1, and they get the dub with a 3-2 score at the end. So pretty good gameplay. I like that they all saved their ults there. They tried to commit as little as possible in that second to last fight, just so that they had the insurance that they would be able to wipe the enemy team on that last one. MVP goes to Magneto, and we'll take a brief look at the scoreboard here before we get going. So 32-6, very respectable score, 21 final hits, 40k damage. Dude actually pumps on Hela. So again, if you want to see more of this guy, I will leave his Twitch and the replay down in the description. You can also check this guy out on the leaderboards. Let me know what you guys want to see next. Leave a comment, like the video if you liked it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.